To truly understand the answer to this question, we need a deep understanding of Mongolia's history, which is very different from China's. Unlike ancient Chinese capitals such as Chang'an and Luoyang, the so-called capitals of ancient nomads were often mobile cities on horseback. Today they may be in Mongolia, but thousands of years later, they can migrate to the deserts of the north. For example, the traditional capital of Xiongnu was in northern China today. After being defeated by Chinese General Li Mu, it moved to Wulatsong Banner in Inner Mongolia, China. Later, it was defeated by Chinese Qin General Meng Tian. The court gradually moved to the area of Hangai Mountain in Mongolia. Similarly, Ulaanbaatar, established in 1639, originally had no fixed location and was called Wurgu. This city of tents followed its leader, Jebuzun Danbahutuktu Living Buddha. Every few years, or even months, entire cities have to relocate. While dismantling and reassembling may seem simple, it was an indescribable hardship for the nomads. This nomadic lifestyle highlights the resilience and adaptability of these ancient peoples. So why don't nomadic tribes build permanent cities? It's not that they don't want to, but because cities have to rely on external supplies, and they need vast plains and abundant farmland to feed enough people. For example, Chengdu relies on the Chengdu Plain, while Wuhan relies on the Jianghan Plain. But this is not the case in Mongolia. On the one hand, Mongolia is very high above sea level. Its average altitude exceeds 1,500 meters. Even the lowest point is more than 500 meters, which is one of the countries with the highest average altitude in the world. On the other hand, its precipitation is very scarce, and the annual precipitation in most areas is less than 200 millimeters. What is more deadly is that water vapor mainly comes from the north, resulting in more precipitation in the north and less precipitation in the south. However, the temperature in the north is very low. Even if the precipitation can reach 400 millimeters, this temperature is still not suitable for the development of agriculture and animal husbandry, because a snowstorm may make the whole year's work in vain. In the south, drought has created about 4,000 square kilometers of the Gobi Desert. In addition, there is almost no vegetation growing here, which can be called barren land. Therefore, in ancient times, nomadic tribes had to rely on following water and grass to migrate, and the places with abundant water and grass became their temporary cities. So they migrate year-round and barely make ends meet. So why not be able to both settle and continue to nomad? Building a fixed city seems like a good choice, not only to control the toll collection of main roads, but also to protect nearby herdsmen from infestation. The starting point of this idea is very good, but the problem is that nomadic tribes are often the active response predatory party. Due to the harsh climate on the Mongolian plateau, famine would occur in the event of natural disasters, and they had to go south to plunder or invade nearby tribes. In this case, making enemies is inevitable. Therefore, in order to survive, nomadic tribes can only rely on rapid movement, or the army can move and quickly use the advantages of cavalry to divide and encircle. Or the people can quickly evacuate to avoid the enemy's edge. But no matter which way you run, it is a prerequisite, and the opponent cannot grasp their specific whereabouts. Therefore, for nomadic tribes, their greatest advantage is that they can retreat at any time. Most of the time, the troops of neighboring countries make a free trip, not because they can't be beaten, but because they can't be found at all. After all, hundreds of thousands of cavalry were scattered over a vast land of 1.5 million square kilometers, and even the gods were difficult to locate. Once there is a city, it is tantamount to providing a target for the other party. If a large amount of food and treasure is still stored in the city, it is even more self-killing. Therefore, unless there are special reasons, nomadic tribes are usually reluctant to take the initiative to build, unless they build a super large and grand city. For example, the city of Zhao was established after the Huns accepted the surrender of Zhao, and the Dragon City was also established for religious sacrifice. The establishment of Ulaanbaatar was actually not the spontaneous will of the Mongols. In order to promote trade in 1778, Qianlong took the initiative to select a fixed location for Ulaanbaatar and renamed such a city as Kulin. The location chosen by Emperor Qianlong was extremely far-sighted. Ulaanbaatar is located in the center of Mongolia, with the Selenge River in the north and the Kerlan River in the west. It is surrounded by mountains. There are many pastures nearby, convenient transportation, and a very advantageous geographical location. Ulaanbaatar's own luck is indeed good. Compared with the early cities, most of them have been baptized by war due to frequent hatred and revenge inside and outside the grassland tribes. For example, Hala and Lin, the capital established by Genghis Khan, became the focus of contention among Mongolian tribes after the decline of the Mongolian Khanate and was destroyed many times until the Qing dynasty in China was still in ruins. Up to now, the population is less than 1,000, and cities built later than Ulaanbaatar have not enjoyed the dividends of the times. Erden, Mongolia's second-largest city, was not built until 1965. Ulaanbaatar has not only enjoyed the economic dividends brought by foreign trade and the political advantages of being the capital, but even the modern railway dividends have been fully obtained. In 1947, with the support of the former Soviet Union, the construction of the Mongolian longitudinal railway began. It took only 3 years to extend to Ulaanbaatar, and then extended from Ulaanbaatar to the border of our country in 1955. When Darhan, the third largest city in Mongolia, was built, it was still 10 years before Erden was built. Generally speaking, Mongolia's population is too small. It was not until 1961 that its population broke through the 1 million mark, and today's total population is only 3.69 million. Even if the national population is aggregated, it is only the population of an ordinary city. In such a country, it is enough for a city to act as a center of science, education, culture, and health, forming a typical winner-takes-all situation. Ulaanbaatar won the competition, bringing together nearly half of Mongolia's population and more than 60% of its GDP, while those who laggards were unable to share in these resources and had to rely on mining for a living. The second largest city in the Mile, which rose from copper mining, has a population of only 887,000. Darhan, the third largest city, started with coal mining and now has a population of only 8,003. Now, as Ulaanbaatar faces more and more serious urban diseases, including soaring housing prices and traffic congestion, Mongolia urgently needs to find a new city to channel the population. The ideal choice is a city with developed high-tech industry. He was very sorry. Looking around, it seems that Mongolia does not even have a city that can barely enter the candidate list, which is indeed puzzling. If we want to find a new way out, we obviously need to change this extremely unbalanced situation. At present, the task is still arduous.